What is up, nerds? My name is VanBradley, and it is that time of the month again. We have a brand new Civ 7 update to take a look at. I've got my pink Starbucks mug. It is full of coffee, so let's dive in and see what's going on. All right, this one is an update check in, not a patch preview. Kind of makes it sound like we're going to our twice annual trip to the Civ doctor. It's been a while since our last update check in. That's exactly what a doctor would say. All right, we're starting with a lot of faff, but most of this is good stuff. They've been trying to bring us post launch updates at a faster pace than ever before for a Civ game. And I'm not going to lie, I think that has been broadly very successful. I think once a month has been a great cadence for patches in Civilization. You want to leave enough time for each patch to feel substantial while also not just like breaking the game and the meta every time you go in. A lot of players are only playing one, maybe two games in a month, so letting them kind of sit with the patch for a little bit is a really smart way to do it. And in a game like Civ 7, where there's still a lot to tweak, there's a lot to fix, there's a lot to fine tune, there's a lot going on, I think having those kind of like beefier patches once a month kind of just fits the right balance. I feel like each patch has felt substantial. It's given me something I want in the game, and it feels like people are paying attention and working hard on it. So I agree that these kind of faster paced patches has been quite good for Civ. They highlighted three big themes from the feedback they were given kind of when the game released, not even like recent feedback, but this was a while back now. Age transitions were not working for people, the replayability was not working for people, and having like a more cohesive Civ identity throughout the ages was important. I think some of this has already been addressed. Like, I love the new age transition settings. I think the replayability is better now with some of the UI changes and some of the ways we can kind of pick and choose the difficulty levels and the new map types and all of that. So I think they've at least on a minor level addressed some of this already, which I think is good. And that's exactly what they say here. Those have been some smaller changes. They got it into the game, etc., etc. But we are eager for the bigger picture. So they're going to dig into more of these long term plans. And the next update, we're up in numbers. We're going up. We're counting. It's 1.3.0. We have asked for a roadmap. They have been wary about giving us a roadmap until they know what is going to be on it and what they're working on, what they want to do, which is completely fair enough. Nothing is worse than a roadmap that gets unroadmapped, that goes off the road and like crashes into a tree or something. So this is good. They are testing some dramatic changes. Now, I just imagining Ed Beach. I love the man, but he just doesn't seem like someone who's like full of drama. You know what I mean? So I do wonder what Ed Beach's, definition of the word dramatic is. But legacy paths and victories in Civ 7 are getting an overhaul. We want to open up the game and provide many new paths your empire can follow while achieving greatness and competing for victory. This is a very interesting place to be devoting a lot of like developer time and energy. Not because it's not needed. I think the victory paths and the victory conditions and everything in Civ 7 are kind of due already for a pretty complete overhaul, but it's a really tricky thing to kind of go in and get right. I think the victory conditions kind of land in the same spot for me as the crises or religion, where it feels like there's some good stuff there. There's some stuff I really like about it, and I'd be sad if they got rid of it, but it also just isn't quite working fully. Like some of the actual conditions themselves, like I like building the world fair as an end to my game. I think like going through the culture path and building the world fair and that counting as a victory is really, really nice. On the other hand, the one with the economic one where you're just sending a bank around just feels kind of shit. So there's some good stuff, there's some not good stuff. I like the legacy paths. Like I like the idea that as you're playing through the ages, you're collecting these legacy points. I know a lot of people don't like that you're kind of going for all of them all the time, but I quite enjoy that part of it. That, I can take my civ, I can take my strategy into a map, but then kind of adapt. And then, collecting those points, influences the legacies you can pick in the next stage. Like I really like the core of what's happening there. The pathways themselves, though, just don't always feel super interesting. Like building seven wonders is, I think pretty fun and interesting in the antiquity age. But then you're like getting religion in the exploration age, and that kind of sucks. So yeah, this is a very interesting place to be spending a lot of energy because I don't think there's very many right answers, but I think there's a ton of wrong answers. And interestingly enough, I don't think the victories in Civ 6 are very good. I think in a lot of the feedback people give about Civ 7, they're kind of rose-colored glasses about Civ 6. Have you ever tried to get a culture victory in Civ 6? Do you even understand how it works? Do you understand how the tourism works, like intuitively? Can you explain it to someone? Have you ever tried to like win one of those on deity without just like spamming rock bands, which are like the worst mechanic ever in a Civ game? So I think that there's a lot to go through here because I think even in Civ 6, a lot of the victory conditions were not amazing. And so trying to figure this out is going to be a tough ask. Second, and one of the most requested features from players, so I was aware that this was in this article, we're internally playtesting ways to play as one civ continuously through the ages, allowing you to choose a civilization from any age and guide them throughout your journey through history. I'm far less sure I'm enthused about this one. Like, I made a video, and in that video, I outlined kind of two ways I thought this could work in a way that's interesting. I'm just not sure. I just don't know what the problem is we're trying to solve here. I guess I do understand what the problem is. It's just a lot of people don't like the way the new system works. They like picking a leader, picking a civ, and just kind of continuing with that civ. But I think the age transitions have solved so many problems. Like, I really love that as I get to each new age, I'm picking a new civ designed for that age with new unique buildings and new unique units, etc., etc. In Civ 6, if you played a game with like a submarine unique unit, A, it sucked, B, it was in the late game, and C, you just never used it. Or if you were someone like Gilgamesh that had your like war carts early on, it kind of felt like all of the cool stuff that you could do as Gilgamesh happened in the first, 70 turns, and then you were just like playing an anonymous civ for the rest of the game. So I think that this one's even trickier than this one. I really, really hope they don't just like you pick any civ and it's just kind of balanced for all the ages. And I just don't want everything to become like a bland, I don't know, like I just think this is tougher. I would really love if they did this, if they went back and actually like recreated each of the civs then and like rechanged their abilities. So like when they like you're staying as the same civ, but you're still getting new stuff in each age. However they want to accomplish that, I've outlined a few ways you can accomplish that. But that feeling of getting into the next age and getting new units and new buildings and new quarters and new abilities, I find to be like a really thrilling and exciting part of Civ 7. So I really hope they don't just like turn it back and go, now you have the Civ 6 method of just playing as one civ, but also we've added these age transitions in. I just think that that would be like the worst of both. Anyways, those are my thoughts. Go and watch the video if you would like to see me kind of go in Microsoft Paint and talk through it in more detail. This part is really, really exciting though. Over the next few months, we're kicking off a new initiative, the Firaxis Feature Workshop. This is our way of opening the door earlier, inviting a small number of community members to go hands-on with features still in development and tell us what's working, what's not, and what's missing, so we can deliver the best possible Civ 7 experience. I think this is really, really nice. I think this is really fun. It's good to get a broad number of voices testing things out. I think when you're developing something, I'm someone who works in like designing stuff. And so sometimes when I'm like in the middle of my designs, I'm kind of like too into it to have an unbiased point of view. So sending it out there to people who are actually playing the game all the time, who can give you that feedback, is really, really nice. And you just get more, variety of perspective. You can have players who maybe play one game every month, players like me who are streamers who like make content for the game. You can have players that play on deity and on the lowest difficulty, and you can kind of get all of those people coming together and coming up with some good ideas. You also see this kind of approach be very successful. This is like its own version of Civ 7 like early access. Like there's tons of games that went into early access, had some people play it, those people gave some feedback, and the game is a lot better for it. So this is a different way of doing it, but very, very smart idea. I also think just as a content creator, this is likely the kind of thing I'd be invited to participate in, which would be super fun for me. Like, I'd love to get in there, try some Civ 7 stuff. And that was part of the fun of having it, the month before release when it came out in February. There was the creating content and there was that part of it, which is really exciting. There just was that month where it felt very intimate. Like, we were putting in 50, 60, 70, 80 hours. I know Bo's put in like 200 or whatever. And you were kind of just able, we just had a Discord server and we were able to send things back between the devs as we were playing it. And I just really, really liked that kind of intimate level of, I'm playing the game, I have some feedback, and you feel really heard, you feel really seen. So I think this is a really, really good initiative. Also, they're going to be quieter over the holidays because, of course, they want to have like Christmas and New Year's with their families. So, how dare they? How dare they have holidays with their families? But that's okay. We'll survive. Give us 1.3.0 and we can hold on until January. That's not a problem. All right, thanks, Ed Beach. Round of applause, everybody. We are moving on. New content collection, Tides of Power. Just what Civ 7 needs, more downloadable content. With 1.3.0, we're introducing a new sea-themed content collection called Tides of Power. Actually, a little excited for this. I think the naval combat and the naval space that Civ 7 is in is far better than Civ 6, and so I'm interested in this. As a special thanks to all our players who've been with us playing the game, providing feedback, creating content, and more, this collection will be free for Civ 7 players to claim from the time it goes live on November 4th. until January 5th, 2026 across all platforms. You know what? Good for them. Good for Firaxis. Good for 2K. This is a good thing to be doing. If you've been playing Civ 7 up until this point for about 2 months, you will get to claim the DLC for free. Afterwards, I'm sure it'll just become a normal paid DLC pack. Now, I'm under no illusion. This is probably more of like, hey, thanks for sticking with us. We know our game hasn't landed well. Have some free DLC. I hope this kind of makes things a little bit better for you. Instead of like, they always plan to do like a free DLC because, players are great or whatever. However, hey, you know what? You can't be too critical of something like this. I think it's a very good initiative. And, just very nice. Like, hey, thanks for playing Civ 7. It's been a bumpy road, but here's some cool DLC for you. We hope you enjoy it. And this is kind of a little reward for having played Civ 7 thus far. First part is coming November 4th, which is just like a week away, which is exciting. More new Civ stuff for us to play. Bringing a brand new leader, Edward Teach, which is Blackbeard. If you've never watched the show Black Sails, you absolutely need to go watch the show Black Sails. It's incredible. So we got Edward Teach, Blackbeard as a new Civ or a new leader, and 2 fresh Civs, Tonga and the Republic of Pirates. Hell yeah. The second part, coming in December, will introduce the formidable leader Saida al-Hurra along with the Ottomans and Iceland. Not gonna lie, this seems like a really inspired offering. Separate from it being free, I think this just seems like a good, set of civs, set of leaders, set of wonders to be introducing to the game at this point. Blackbeard, Pirates, the Great Lighthouse, Nan Madal, Iceland, Saida al-Hurra, the Ottomans. These are all like really, it feels kind of meaningful. These feel like really fun, cool additions to the game. I'd say perfect timing for all this. So the Naval update is coming at the same time as the first part of this Tides of Power collection, and it's really focused on naval stuff. We got a new unit, a new building, combat updates, more ocean resources, and more. They're also doing a big balance shift, focusing specifically on sweeping changes. I wonder how it's different to dramatic changes, as referenced at the top of this article, anyways, to individual civs. You know what? This update is already a 12 out of 10. A new harbor building, a warehouse building available to all civs. Can I get a hell yeah, brother? Mostly, though, has a base production yield. We love that. I really like the shipyard for that base production yield and gives additional production on fishing boats. The amount of towns or, towns specifically, but also cities that just have so many ocean tiles, getting production on those fishing boats is going to be so, 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 so good. This new privateer also sounds so sick. Light naval unit, exploration age, that's cool. It's between the cog and the carrack, but you know what's awesome? The rest of it. It can cross the borders of other civs freely, pillage trade routes for quick cash, and even attack the military units of non-allied civilizations regardless of your war status. Now, I imagine this still pisses people off, but this just kind of in a way does change the game a little bit. If the AI have privateers and they're able to pillage your trade routes and attack your boats regardless of your war status, you're going to need to always be on the lookout for that possibly happening. You're going to have units ready. Now, the only thing that I wonder is if the privateer can attack me regardless of my war status, then I would love to be able to attack it back. Like, that seems like an overlap that might be a little weird. And maybe it's just the military units. Maybe it's not the naval units. Like, these would be land-based units. So I have some questions about how exactly this works. But I'm already excited to be able to take my privateers and do some, free pillaging for fun. And getting some quick cash is going to be nice. I'm a little bit confused as to how exactly it works with, like, being able to fight units and then not fight you back. But we'll see how it goes. They're adding more resources, crabs, turtles, cowrie, and pitch. Now, without knowing what these resources do, this is just, it could be anything, you know what I mean? It could be like whales and whatever. So without knowing the abilities of the resources, hard to say how this feels, but 4 more ocean resources I think is good, and guaranteeing a number of coastal resources, like a minimum number, so you're always going to have some access to them, I think is also great. We've got some new terrain types. Atolls will appear in deep ocean, so I'm assuming once you get shipbuilding, you're kind of freely roaming around. These will act as movement-stopping terrain, kind of like how rough terrain or whatever does on land, so that makes perfect sense. You're just kind of creating different ways you have to navigate the ocean, which I think is very thematically accurate. Navigating the ocean is not always easy breezy, lemon squeezy, so that makes sense. We have new lotus terrain. It'll spawn in lakes and provide bonuses to food and gold. Hell yeah, brother. And they've buffed the existing reefs. Cool. They've made ocean tiles workable in the modern age. Oh my god. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. This update rocks. Hawaii can now work ocean tiles in the exploration age, making their coastal starts feel more powerful even earlier. I'm a hell yeah brother for all of this. We've done a significant pass to make naval warfare feel more impactful, and I already really enjoy it. So let's see what they've got cooking here. Prior to this update, all naval combat was melee combat. I did not love that. That is true. But now we added ranged units to the mix as well. Light units are melee units. They have movement, vision, and the ability to set up flanking attacks. So they like float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Like they're moving around, they're waiting, and then boom, melee attack. Heavy units are the new ranged units. These are slower than light units, don't have as much vision. However, heavy units make up for their lack of vision with their strong ranged attacks. So it seems like you'll have to have a mix. Light units are going around, they got the vision, they're boxing people in, they're ready for the flanks. And then with that vision and that information, you're going to take your heavy units and you're going to ranged attack them. That makes perfect sense. Also kind of gives you some strategies with your kind of sea commanders, whatever they're called, where you can put your heavy units in there to get the movement boost from the naval commander. I can see going down that route with the naval commander promotions to get more movement on your heavy units. So lots of strategy here. I'm into this. And as always, there's plenty more, and we need to go through the update notes. Oh boy, will I ever go through those update notes. Honestly, I'm going to be honest. I was a little iffy on the last video I did on a patch when it was the balance patch, and I turned out to be completely wrong, but that's how it goes sometimes. I am all in on this one, and I hope it sticks the landing, because this is a 10 out of 10 for me. Everything that's starting at the top, moving our way down, everything that they've announced is coming into the game. I feel really, really great about all the naval stuff, the free DLC, the type of stuff we're getting with the DLC, the balance pass for civilizations. All of that sounds amazing. The stuff I'm a little iffy on is stuff that's not in the game yet, so completely withholding judgment. I think these are both good things to be looking at. Legacy paths, victories, being able to play continuous civs. I'm happy we're looking at these things. We'll see how it goes. But more importantly, I think this new kind of early access testing out things with community members is such a huge step forward and a really cool thing to be doing, that I really can't hold anything against these two until we see what they kind of make of this. So yeah, really, really impressed with this update and what's coming in it. I think this should be a really good update for Civ 7. We have to check the patch notes. The patch notes could kind of prove me wrong here. And then we got to play it. Maybe it doesn't play very well, etc., etc. But I think we're looking at a really, really significant and well-received update so far. I've been told, though, I need to watch the first look for Edward Teach. So let's hop in. We're at the end of the video. Let's just see what's going on with old Blackbeard. First look, Eddie Teach. I don't need closed captions. There we go. Cool accent. Oh, he's got like fire in his beard. Hell yeah. Well, I haven't had to rendezvous with pirates recently, so I'm not that scared of them. All right, so if you're playing, increase relationship by a small amount with leaders that build naval units, decrease with leaders that don't. Okay, so he likes naval units as like a way to make him happier or more mad at you. Naval units ignore war status when attacking other naval units, and naval units can be attacked without being at war. So this is like the privateer bonus, but for everyone now, for all the units. And I think this is where the difference is. So I think this answers my first question. That privateer can attack land units for free, right? But not naval units, whereas this one can ignore war status to attack naval units as well, and with all naval units, not just the privateer. This is making sense. Defeating any naval units with your own naval units provides gold equal to 50% of its combat strength and captures the unit. I see the piratey nature of this is awesome. There's a very pirate heavy. Now pairing this with the Republic of Pirates is going to be sick, because I don't even know what piratey nonsense they got going on. This is fucking hilarious. I love this. All right, sure. That's so funny. I love that. Is this a pirate boat? This is like a treasure fleet boat. I like how they just have the piles of gold on land. They're like, yep, this is how it gets transferred. We make it from one big pile to a bunch of smaller piles, and then people just take their allowance from the... Anyways, this was great. I really like this. Edward Teach is going to rock. So yeah, Eddie Teach, I'm excited. If you enjoyed that video, a little bit of a pre-cap for the patch, for Edward Teach, for Blackbeard, for a lot of the things going on in Civ 7 1.3.0, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. My name, of course, is VanBradley, and I will see you in the next one.